Welcome to the Leading Generations podcast from Antioch Bible Baptist Church in Gladstone, Missouri. Each week, Pastor Steve Doss shares an encouraging word on faith, family, or culture as we seek to live out our mission of leading generations to make disciples of Jesus Christ everywhere.
Welcome back to the Leading Generations podcast. It is good to be back with you. It was funny on Sunday, I was just greeting people, talking with different people, and one of our church members came up and was telling me that they had a good Christmas, a good New Year's, and just talking about life. And they mentioned that the last 2 weeks, something had been missing in their life. And the thing that was missing was our Leading Generation podcast. So it was good to hear that on Sunday as we start a new year together with the podcast. Thank you for always engaging in it, for showing up every Wednesday or throughout the week at some point to join us for the podcast. We're excited about this new year together. We've got some exciting plans. We'll tell you more about those in the podcast ahead. But this year, we wanted to begin by finishing out our doctrinal statement as a church. We've been working through this. So we started at the beginning of last year with our doctrinal statement. There's 14 sections of it. So each month we hit a section of it. But as we come to this new year, we wanted to start by just finishing it out. So we have section 13 today, and then next week we'll hit section 14. Today's section is the sanctity of human life. The section 13 doctrinal statement for Antioch Bible Baptist Church is the sanctity of human life. It's 3 sentences long, but there are 3 powerful sentences. It says this: we believe that all human life is sacred and created by God in His image. Human life is of inestimable worth in all its dimensions, including preborn babies, the aged, the physically or mentally challenged, and every other stage or condition from conception through natural death. We are therefore called to defend, protect, and value all human life. We get this from 2 verses in Scripture. Obviously, we could go to others, but on our statement of faith, we list 2 scriptures: Genesis chapter 1, verses 26 through 27, and Psalms 139. So we begin by saying, we believe that all human life is sacred and created by God in His image. You heard it when I was reading through it. We use the term all a lot, right? So we do here as well. We believe that all human life is sacred and created by God in His image. This comes all the way back. And oftentimes throughout our statement of faith here, different sections, we've always been going back to Genesis chapter 1, in the beginning, right? In the beginning, God created. And so here again, we go back to the beginning when God created the world. And in Genesis 1, 26 and 27, it says this: then God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the heavens, over the livestock, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth. So God created man in His own image. In the image of God, He created him, male and female, He created them. So we believe that every person that has been born is born in the image of God. It says that clearly in verse 27. In the image of God, He created him, male and female, He created them. So we believe that our value and worth as a human being comes from the reality that we were made in the image of God. Sentence 2 says, human life is of inestimable worth in all its dimensions. Again, there's the word all. We use that throughout this, again, reminding us of the value of all human life. It is of inestimable worth in all its dimensions, including preborn babies, the aged, the physically or mentally challenged, and any other stage or condition from conception through natural death. Now we get this from Psalms 139. There's 24 verses in Psalms 139. So I'm going to read through all 24 verses, and I'm going to stop at moments and I'll give a little commentary of where we get our statement from. But this is a great psalm, and I'd encourage you, as you think about your life, as you think about being made in the image of God, the value you have as a human being, Psalms 139 elevates that in our hearts and our minds through David's psalm that he wrote here. It begins by saying this: "O Lord, you have searched me and known me. You know when I sit down and when I rise up. You discern my thoughts from afar. You search out my path and my lying down, and are acquainted with all of my ways. Even before a word is on my tongue, behold, O Lord, you know it altogether. You hem me in behind and before, and you lay your hand upon me." Listen to the psalmist's response to this thought of God being a part of every area of his life. He says, "Such knowledge," verse 6, "is too wonderful for me. It is high. I cannot attain it." He's just saying, I cannot wrap my mind around the thought that no matter where I am, what I'm thinking, what's going on in my life, that the Lord is there with me. He knows everything. He says in verse 7, "Where shall I go from your spirit, and where shall I flee from your presence? If I ascend to heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in Sheol, you are there. If I take the wings of the morning to dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there your hand shall lead me, and your right hand shall hold me. If I say, surely the darkness shall cover me, and the light about me be night, even the darkness is not too dark to you. The night is bright as the day, for the darkness is as light with you." Again, the psalmist saying, David, I can't go anywhere that God is not there, that he is not present. Even in the darkest nights, God is there present with us, right? The darkness, he said, is as light with God. And then listen to verse 13. This is where it really begins to form our thinking on what we believe about life. Verse 13, he says this: "For you formed my inward parts. You knitted me together in my mother's womb." Who made you? God created you. He knit you together in your mother's womb. Verse 14, "I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works. My soul knows it very well." The psalmist burst out in praise as he thinks about the reality that God created us in our mother's womb. And he says, we're fearfully and wonderfully made because God created us. Every person, all human life. Verse 15, "My frame was not hidden from you when I was being made in secret, intricately woven in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed substance. In your book were written, every one of them, the days that were formed for me, when as yet there were none of them." Think about that thought. Every human being, God saw your unformed substance. In your book was written, every one of them, the days that were formed for you, when as yet there were none of them. That adds so much value to every person's life. Verse 17, "How precious to me are your thoughts, O God, and how vast is the sum of them. If I would count them, they would be more than the sand. I awake and I am still with you." I just think about that thought that he has there, that if he were to put together how much God has thought about you and me, it would be more than the sand. If you've ever been on the beach, that's a lot of thoughts. God thinks about you. He loves you. No matter the state, the condition that you find yourselves in physically, God has thought about you. He loves you. He is with you. Verse 19, he says, "Oh, that you would slay the wicked, O God, O men of blood, depart from me. They speak against you with malicious intent. Your enemies take your name in vain. Do I not hate those who hate you, O Lord? And do I not loathe those who rise up against you? I hate them with a complete hatred. I count them my enemies. And then verse 23 and verse 24, he says, search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me and know my thoughts. And if there be any grievous way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. I love that the psalmist ends by examining his heart and say, Lord, know my heart. Help me to see my life through your eyes. And that statement that we make here is we're saying we want to see every human life through God's eyes. So we end our statement of faith with the third sentence, and it is this. We say, we are therefore called to defend, protect, and value all, again, there's the word all human life. Why would we say this statement? Because Scripture pushes us to say this statement. Since everyone is made in the image of God and has value, what we must do our part to defend, protect, and value each human life. So when we see things in culture that are against human life, we have to call it out, like things like abortion or euthanasia. Those practices go against the valuing of human life. What it's doing is it's putting ourselves in the seat of God and saying we are the ultimate controller and creator of human life. And that's not true. Scripture teaches us the total opposite of that we have been created in the image of God. And so when we see practices that go against valuing human life, we have to call those out and we have to defend, support, and protect human life. This is why at Antioch we support ministries like Resource Health, because we want to help come alongside people who are considering taking life into their own hands and saying, here's a different way that you can go. This is why we support people in our church who are looking to adopt, because we say every life has value because they're made in the image of God. So section 13 says, the sanctity of human life. We believe that all human life is sacred and created by God in his image. Human life is of inestimable worth in all its dimensions, including preborn babies, the aged, the physically or mentally challenged, and every other stage or condition from conception through natural death. We are therefore called to defend, protect, and value all human life. Section 13 of our statement of faith. Next week, we'll look at our last section, section 14, marriage and sexuality. Look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks again for joining us as we enter this new year together in our Leading Generation podcast.